Proposed solutions, and I'm going to go ahead and throw in my follow-up question if you'd address this as a part of this. And it goes back to the Economic Stabilization Fund. Should we be drawing on rainy day funds for things that could be budgeted for in the course of things?
We don't have enough funding through our gas tax to currently maintain our existing roads, much less build the new infrastructure we need to address a growing population. And that's a big problem, because that congestion will choke off future growth. The gas tax has not gone up in 20 years. I'm not a proponent of raising the gas tax, but the fact is that fortunately cars are becoming more fuel efficient. Some cars, like electric cars, don't use any gas. And so we need to figure out, how do we have drivers who are using our roads properly pay for them. So maybe an increase in vehicle registration fees, for people that are acquiring new cars or buying used cars, to provide some additional funding that's to make up for that gap where the gas tax is not covering. Also, we've got to stop diversions. The Texas legislature for a number of years has diverted funds out of the transportation fund to pay for things like DPS and other things that are very good things, but instead of those items coming out of the general fund, they're coming out of the transportation fund, and that's only made the problem worse.
Completely agree with transportation that we need to end diversions. We do have enough in our budget to be spent on transportation. The problem is that all of it is not being spent on transportation. A lot of it is being diverted elsewhere in regards to the gas sales tax as well as the vehicle sales tax. Not all of it's going to where, funding transportation. So I'm all for ending diversions for that, just so that, what money is being budgeted for and being allocated for is actually being spent where it's supposed to be. The other idea is, traditional turnpikes. The whole idea of, users paying it until it, the creation of specific freeways or whatnot get paid off, and then after it gets paid off, remove that. And, yeah.
Transportation, as well as all of our infrastructure, it needs to be a high priority. There's 1,000 people moving to the state of Texas every day. People talk about raising the gas tax, but the reality is it was last increased in '93, but we're collecting $1 billion more every year from that, even though it hasn't been raised. So it's a good source. And yeah, people talk about ending diversions. We have to do that as well. But the problem is TxDOT has a shortfall of about $3 billion annually, and the diversions are about 1.6 billion. So there's still a shortfall. What Texas needs is a predictable source of revenue for transportation. If you look historically, at one point transportation was about 30% of the state budget. Now it's south of 10%. So we talk about it in this type of environment, these forums, as transportation is a priority. But when you look at our budget, it's not. It's almost a rounding error. So what I would do is recommend that we dedicate vehicle sales tax to transportation. You could phase that in over 3 years. But what that would do is that would generate another $3 billion annually for transportation, and then the diversions would be another 1.6 as well. So if we make those two changes, then transportation is adequately funded within the state of Texas, and we can support the growth that we have. This is the reason why we have toll roads, by the way. If you look at the city of Plano, 3 of its 4 boundaries have toll roads, and it's because of the underfunding of transportation. And I've got 1 second left.